Lieutenant Samantha Vega looked out the window of the space station. The alien ship hung in the darkness like a giant jewel. It was made of crystal and liquid metal that moved and changed. No human had ever seen anything like it before. Samantha touched her uniform to make sure it was perfect. She was a fighter pilot, not a diplomat. She was good at flying ships and shooting things, not talking to aliens. But here she was, about to meet the first aliens to visit Earth. "Are you ready, Lieutenant?" asked General Mason. "Yes, sir," Samantha said, even though she wasn't sure if anyone could really be ready for something like this. The alien ship had appeared 3 days ago. It just showed up in Earth's orbit without warning. Everyone thought it might be an attack. Fighter jets scrambled. Missile systems were made ready. The world held its breath, but then came the message. "We come in peace. We wish to meet." Now Samantha stood with 20 other people chosen to represent Earth. Scientists, politicians, military officers. The best humanity had to offer. They waited in the large meeting room of the International Space Station, which had been cleaned and decorated for this historic moment. "They're coming," someone whispered. A door on the other side of the room opened. Light poured through it so bright that Samantha had to shield her eyes. When she could see again, she gasped. The aliens looked almost human, but also not human at all. They walked on 2 legs and had 2 arms. They had faces with eyes and mouths, but their skin glowed with colors that shifted and changed. Their eyes were huge, purple and gold, with no whites at all. They moved with a grace that made the humans look clumsy in comparison. In the front stood the most beautiful being Samantha had ever seen. She was tall and slender, with skin that shimmered like diamonds. Her hair, if it was hair, flowed around her head like it was underwater. She wore a dress that seemed to be made of light itself. "That must be their leader," whispered Dr. Rivera, who stood next to Samantha. The beautiful alien stepped forward. "I am Princess Ilara of the Xylarian Empire. We bring greetings from beyond your stars." Her voice was like music. Everyone in the human delegation seemed to lean toward her, drawn by her beauty and grace. Everyone except Captain Marcus Reed. Marcus stood at the back of the human group. He was the leader of Earth's best special forces team. He had fought in wars. He had seen things that most people couldn't imagine. And right now he wasn't looking at the beautiful princess. He was looking at someone else. At the back of the alien group stood a smaller figure. This alien wasn't as tall or as shiny as the others. Her skin was covered in small scales that were a darker blue. She stood differently too, more alert, more watchful. While the princess smiled and greeted the human leaders, this alien's eyes moved around the room, taking in everything. Marcus moved slowly along the edge of the room. The humans were all focused on Princess Ilara, who was now explaining how her people had traveled through fold space to reach Earth. The aliens were watching their princess too, proud of how she captivated the humans. No one noticed when Marcus approached the scaled alien at the back. "Hello," he said quietly. The alien turned to him surprised. Her eyes narrowed. They were the same purple gold as the others, but somehow sharper, more focused. "Hello," she replied. Her voice wasn't musical like the princess's, it was lower, rougher. "I'm Captain Marcus Reed. I am Commander Nyara of the Imperial Guard." Marcus looked at the alien ship through the window. "Your ship doesn't use normal engines, does it? It's not pushing against anything to move?" Nyara's eyes widened slightly. "You notice that? I've studied every type of engine humans have ever built. Yours is different. It uses the space between spaces," Nyara said. "Your people don't have that technology yet?" "No, we don't," Marcus admitted. "But I'd like to learn." Nyara studied him for a long moment. "You're the first human to speak to me instead of Princess Ilara." "The princess is beautiful," Marcus said, "but I'm more interested in how things work. And you look like someone who makes things work." A small smile appeared on Nyara's face. "Yes, I do." She looked over at the princess, who was now showing the human delegates a small floating ball of light. "The princess makes people happy. I make sure our ships fly and our weapons fire." "You have weapons?" Marcus asked, suddenly alert. "All ships have weapons," Nyara said. "Space is a dangerous place." Across the room, Samantha watched as Princess Ilara demonstrated amazing technology. The small ball of light expanded into a map of stars. The princess pointed to one bright point. "This is our home," she said. "We have traveled very far to meet you." "Why us?" asked President Wilson. "Why Earth? Princess Ilara smiled. Because you are ready to join the galactic community. We have been watching your development. Your television signals, your internet, your space exploration. You are young but promising. Samantha wasn't sure why, but something about the princess's words made her uneasy. It all seemed too perfect. Too easy. In the corner, Marcus and Niara continued their quiet conversation. Your princess said you've been watching us, Marcus said. For how long? Many of your years, Niara replied. We study all developing worlds. And then what happens to them? These developing worlds? Niara's scales shifted color, slightly darkening. Some become trading partners. Some become other things. What does that mean? Before Niara could answer, another alien approached them. This one was tall and broad, with scales that gleamed like metal. Commander Niara, he said sharply. The princess requires your presence. Niara straightened. Of course, Captain Vox, she turned to Marcus. Perhaps we will speak again, Captain Reed. I'd like that, Marcus said. As Niara moved away, Marcus watched her join the princess. Princess Ilara placed a hand on Niara's shoulder, but her eyes flicked briefly to Marcus. For just a moment, her perfect smile seemed to falter. The meeting lasted 2 more hours. The aliens shared some of their technology, medical advances, energy solutions, agricultural improvements. The humans offered art, music, and history. Everyone agreed it was a successful first contact. As the aliens prepared to leave, Samantha noticed something odd. A small device on Princess Ilara's wrist flashed red 3 times. The princess touched it, and all the aliens suddenly ended their conversations and moved toward the door. We must return to our ship, Princess Ilara announced, but we will come back tomorrow. There is so much more to share. As the aliens filed out, Princess Ilara in front and Commander Niara near the back, Samantha caught Marcus's eye across the room. His face was serious. He nodded slightly as if to say, I saw it too. Something was happening. Something more than a friendly visit from space. And somehow Samantha knew that her life and Marcus's life, maybe all human lives, had just changed forever. 3 months had passed since the Xylurians arrived on Earth. Things had changed quickly. The aliens shared amazing technology that helped humans in many ways. They gave medicine that cured diseases doctors couldn't fix before. They showed farmers how to grow more food in dry places. They even helped clean up the oceans with tiny machines that ate plastic. Princess Ilara became famous all over the world. Her face was on TV, magazines, and billboards. Children had Princess Ilara dolls. Adults wore clothes that tried to look like her shimmering skin. Everyone loved her, almost everyone. Lieutenant Samantha Vega walked through the Xylurian compound, a scanner hidden in her jacket pocket. The aliens had built their Earth base in what used to be a large park in Washington, D.C. The building looked like a smaller version of their ship, all crystal and flowing metal. It glowed softly at night and flowers grew all around it even in winter. Samantha smiled and nodded at the guards. They knew her as one of the regular military liaisons. What they didn't know was that she had been running secret scans for weeks. Good morning, Lieutenant Vega, said one of the human assistants who worked in the compound. Are you here to see Ambassador Laurel? Yes, Samantha lied. Just a routine security update. She walked deeper into the building. Her scanner vibrated in her pocket. It had found something. She casually took out her phone, pretending to check messages while actually looking at the scanner results. Energy readings from the East Wing were off the charts. The scanner couldn't even identify what kind of energy it was, and the East Wing was supposed to be just guest quarters and storage. Interesting, she muttered. What's interesting? Samantha almost jumped. Princess Ilara stood right behind her, smiling that perfect smile. Up close, the princess was even more beautiful. Her skin seemed to contain tiny stars that moved beneath the surface. Oh, Your Highness, I was just admiring the architecture. Princess Ilara's smile widened. It is quite different from your buildings, isn't it? We grow our structures rather than build them. Grow them? Yes. The living crystal responds to our thoughts and needs. It's been in our family for thousands of years. Samantha tried not to show her surprise. The aliens had never mentioned that their buildings and ships were alive. That's amazing, she said. I'd love to learn more about it. Perhaps someday, the princess said. But now I believe Ambassador Laurel is waiting for you. Samantha nodded and walked away, feeling the princess's eyes on her back. She did go see Ambassador Laurel to maintain her cover. After a boring meeting about security protocols for the upcoming World Unity celebration, she left the compound. Instead of returning to base, she went to a small coffee shop 3 blocks away. Captain Marcus Reed was already there, sitting at a corner table with his back to the wall. "Old soldier habits, you're late," he said as she sat down. "I ran into the princess." Marcus raised an eyebrow. And she's still creepy in a beautiful way. Samantha took out her phone and slid it across the table. "Look at these readings." Marcus studied the screen. "What am I looking at?" "Energy signatures from the East Wing. Nothing we've ever seen before, and definitely not something they've shared with us." "Could be anything," Marcus said, but his face was serious. "It could be weapons," Samantha said quietly. Marcus handed back the phone. "You've been saying that for weeks." "The brass doesn't want to hear it." "Because they're all in love with Princess Perfect," Samantha grumbled. "What about your friend? The scaly one?" Marcus almost smiled. "Commander Nyara. We've been meeting regularly. Security discussions." "Sure, security." Samantha smirked. "What does she say about all this?" "She's careful with her words. But I think she has concerns too." Samantha leaned forward. "The World Unity celebration is in 3 days. All the world leaders in one place with the aliens. If I were planning something, that would be the time," Marcus finished. "I know, but we need proof, not just feelings and strange energy readings." "Then I'll get proof," Samantha said firmly. "Tonight," Marcus frowned. "Vega, don't do anything stupid. Define stupid. Breaking into the alien compound alone at night." Samantha sipped her coffee. "Then come with me." Marcus shook his head. "I can't. I have a meeting with Nyara tonight." "More security discussions?" Samantha teased. "Yes, actually." Marcus looked uncomfortable. "She's going to show me some of their defense technology." "Really? She's sharing military tech with you?" "She says she has permission." Marcus didn't sound convinced. Samantha stood up. "Well, have fun on your date. I'm going to find out what's in the East Wing." "Vega," Marcus grabbed her arm. "Be careful. Really careful." "Always am," she said with a confident smile she didn't quite feel. That night, Samantha climbed over the compound wall where the security cameras had a 3-second blind spot. She wore black clothes and had darkened her face with camo paint. Her scanner was in one pocket, a small camera in another. The compound was quiet. Most of the aliens returned to their ship at night, leaving only a few guards. Samantha moved silently from shadow to shadow. Her years of special ops training before becoming a pilot were finally useful. She reached the East Wing without being spotted. The door had a strange lock, not electronic but some kind of crystal that glowed faintly. Samantha took out a device the tech department had made based on her earlier scans. It pulsed with light in a specific pattern. The crystal lock dimmed, then brightened, then clicked open. "Thank you, nerds," Samantha whispered. Inside, the East Wing looked nothing like the rest of the compound. No beautiful decorations or comfortable furniture, just row after row of strange machines. They hummed with energy. In the center of the room was a large crystal globe that showed Earth, rotating slowly. Red dots pulsed all over it. Samantha took pictures of everything. She approached one of the machines. It had a screen showing what looked like missile plans, but not human missiles. "Alien weapons, what are you planning?" she murmured. She moved to the globe. The red dots seemed to mark major cities and military bases. When she touched one, information appeared in the alien language. She couldn't read it, but she recognized numbers and diagrams that looked like attack formations. "They're planning an invasion," she realized, her blood running cold. She had to tell Marcus. "Tell everyone." She turned to leave and froze. Princess Alara stood in the doorway. She wasn't smiling now. Her perfect face was cold and hard. "Humans," she said, her musical voice now flat. "Always so curious, and what is all this?" Samantha demanded, trying to sound brave. "The future," Princess Alara said simply. "Your planet has resources we need. Your people will serve our empire. We welcomed you," Samantha said. "We shared our home with you, and we appreciated the invitation." The princess stepped forward. It made everything so much easier. Samantha backed away. "You won't get away with this. I have evidence now." "No," Princess Alara said. "You have nothing." She raised her hand. Something that looked like a ceremonial knife glinted in the dim light. But when she pressed a button on its handle, it transformed into a weapon Samantha had never seen before. "Such a pity," the princess said. I rather liked you, Lieutenant Vega. Samantha turned to run, but there was nowhere to go. She pulled out her own gun, small but better than nothing. Stay back, she warned. The princess laughed. Oh, I don't need to get close, and she pointed the weapon. It hummed with energy. Samantha fired her gun, but the bullet stopped in midair, then fell to the floor. Your primitive weapons can't harm me, Princess Ilara said. Samantha looked around desperately for anything she could use. There was a panel on the wall that controlled the machines. If she could damage it, she fired again, not at the princess, but at the panel. Sparks flew. Alarms began to blare throughout the compound. Princess Ilara's perfect face twisted with rage. You fool! She fired her weapon. Samantha dived behind a machine, feeling heat pass over her head. She crawled along the floor as the princess fired again and again. Guards! The princess called out. Intruder in the command center! Samantha reached the back wall. There was a small vent, maybe big enough for her to fit through. She started to pull off the cover. Behind her, Princess Ilara spoke into a device on her wrist. This is an emergency override. Begin phase 2 immediately. No, Samantha yelled, turning back. Whatever you're doing, stop. The princess smiled, cold and beautiful. It's already done. The fleet has been summoned. Footsteps pounded outside. Guards were coming. Samantha had seconds to escape. But she had to warn Earth. She took one last picture of the princess standing by the globe with its red targets, then dived into the vent. As she crawled through the dark, narrow space, she sent the pictures to Marcus with a simple message. Invasion coming. Not what they seem. Trust no one. She only hoped he would get it in time. The news spread fast across the world. Lieutenant Samantha Vega, decorated pilot and war hero, had attacked Princess Ilara of the Xylurian Empire. The story was the same on every channel. A mentally unstable officer had broken into the alien compound and tried to kill the beloved princess. Security cameras showed Samantha firing her gun at the princess before being subdued by guards. What the cameras didn't show was that she had fired at a control panel, not at the princess, or that the evidence of invasion plans she claimed to have found had mysteriously disappeared from her camera. Now Samantha sat in a high-security military prison. Her claims about an alien invasion were dismissed as paranoid delusions. Her commanders pointed to stress from her combat service. Doctors suggested she might have PTSD. No one believed her. No one except Captain Marcus Reed. Marcus sat in his apartment staring at his phone. Samantha's message had come through just before she was captured. The pictures were blurry, taken in panic, but they showed enough. Strange machines. A map of Earth with targets marked. Princess Ilara with a weapon that was definitely not ceremonial. What do I do with this? He muttered. If he went to his superiors, they would think he was crazy too. The world was in love with the Xylurians. Their medical technology had cured thousands of sick people. Their agricultural advances were ending hunger in poor countries. No one wanted to believe they could be dangerous. His phone buzzed. A text message from Commander Nyara. Need to see you. Usual place now. Marcus grabbed his jacket and left. The usual place was a small park near the alien compound. He and Nyara had been meeting there for weeks, talking about their worlds, their lives, their beliefs. He had started to trust her. Maybe even more than trust. But now, with Samantha's warning and evidence, he wasn't sure what to think. Nyara was already there when he arrived, sitting on a bench under a large oak tree. Her scaled skin looked different in the moonlight, darker, with less of the shimmer that all Xylurians seem to have. You came, she said, sounding relieved. Of course I came. Marcus sat beside her, keeping some distance. What's going on, Nyara? She was quiet for a long moment. Your friend, Lieutenant Vega, she's not crazy. Marcus's heart beat faster. You know about that? Everyone knows. It's all over your news. Nyara turned to face him. But what they're saying isn't true. She didn't attack the princess. She found something she wasn't supposed to find. The invasion plans, Marcus said quietly. Nyara's eyes widened. She told you? She sent me pictures before they caught her. Marcus watched Nyara's reaction carefully. Is it true? Are your people planning to invade Earth? Nyara looked down at her hands. Yes, the simple word hit Marcus like a punch. Even though he had suspected it, hearing it confirmed made it real. Why? He asked. We welcomed you. We shared everything with you. It's what we do, Nyara said, her voice flat. The Xylurian Empire has conquered hundreds of worlds this way. We come in peace. We share just enough technology to make the native species trust us. Princess Ilara charms everyone with her engineered beauty. And when defenses are down, the warships arrive. Engineered beauty? Ilara was created in a lab, Nyara explained. Designed to be irresistible to most species. Her pheromones, her voice, even the way she moves, all calculated to create maximum appeal. Marcus processed this. And you? Were you created too? Nyara laughed bitterly. No, I'm just a normal Xylurian. Ordinary. That's why I'm always in the back. No one is supposed to notice me. I noticed you, Marcus said softly. Yes. Nyara met his eyes. You did? And that's why I'm here now, committing treason. When is the invasion coming? Soon, the fleet is already on its way. They were waiting in your outer solar system beyond what you call Pluto. Now they're moving inward. Marcus stood up, running a hand through his hair. We have to warn people. We have to stop this. How? Nyara asked. Who would believe you? And even if they did, your weapons are no match for ours. There has to be a way, Marcus insisted. I need to see Samantha. She might have more information. They won't let you near her, Nyara warned. She's being held in isolation. Then I'll break her out, Marcus said simply. Nyara stood too. That's insane. You'll be caught and imprisoned too. I have friends. People who trust me. Marcus started pacing. If we can get Samantha out, and with your knowledge of Xylurian technology, maybe we can find a weakness. Something we can use. Nyara was quiet for a moment. Then she said, there is a weakness. All Xylurian ships and weapons use living crystal technology. It's partly organic. It can be infected. Like a virus? Marcus asked, stopping his pacing. Yes, I could create one that would disrupt their systems, but we would need to get it into the main command ship once the fleet arrives. How long do we have? 3 days. Maybe 4. Marcus nodded. Then we better get started. They made plans through the night. Marcus would contact his most trusted team members, men and women who had fought beside him in the worst battles on Earth. Nyara would create the virus that could infect the Xylurian fleet. And together they would try to free Samantha. The prison break happened the next night. Marcus and his team, 5 loyal soldiers who had served with him for years, approached the military compound where Samantha was being held. They wore regular army uniforms and carried falsified transfer orders. We're here to move the prisoner Vega, Marcus told the guards at the gate. Special psychiatric evaluation. The guards checked their papers. These look in order, but we didn't get any notification. It was decided an hour ago, said Lisa Chen, one of Marcus's team. She had worked in administration before becoming a soldier and knew how to talk the talk. You know how it is with these high-profile cases? They don't want the press finding out. The guards looked at each other, then shrugged. Sign here. Marcus signed the form with a fake name. They were led through security checkpoints to Samantha's cell. She looked terrible, pale and thin with dark circles under her eyes. What's going on? She asked when she saw Marcus. Psychiatric transfer, he said meaningfully. Come with us. Understanding dawned in her eyes. She stood up and allowed them to handcuff her, playing the part of the prisoner. They almost made it out. They were walking through the final security checkpoint when an alarm blared. A voice came over the speakers. Security alert. Unauthorized removal of prisoner Vega in progress. All exits seal now. Run! Marcus shouted, dropping the pretense. They bolted for the exit, pushing past surprised guards. Gunfire erupted behind them. One of Marcus's team went down with a cry of pain. Keep moving, Marcus ordered, though it killed him to leave a man behind. They burst through the doors just as they were closing. The guard station outside was calling for backup. Marcus and his team fired their weapons not to kill but to create confusion and cover. A black van screeched up to the curb. The door slid open to reveal Nyara at the wheel. Get in, she shouted. They piled into the van. Bullets pinged off the metal as Nyara floored the accelerator, driving them away from the prison. How many did we lose? Samantha asked, breathing hard. Kevin took a hit, Marcus said grimly. We had to leave him. Samantha nodded, understanding the hard choice. You got my message? My pictures? Yes, and Nyara confirmed it. The invasion is coming. Samantha looked at the alien driving the van. You're helping us? Why? Because what my people are doing is wrong, Nyara said, not taking her eyes off the road. We used to be explorers, not conquerors. The Empire has lost its way. And because she has a thing for your captain, Lisa Chen added with a small smile. Nyara's scales darkened with what might have been a blush. I respect Captain Reed's intelligence and courage. Where are we going? Samantha asked, changing the subject. Somewhere they won't look for us, Marcus said. An old bunker from the Cold War era. My grandfather helped build it. It's not on any modern maps. The bunker was deep in the mountains, built into solid rock. It had been designed to withstand nuclear attacks. It had power from old generators, water from an underground spring, and enough space for them all to work. How long until the fleet arrives? Samantha asked once they were settled. 2 days now, Nyara said. Maybe less. And your virus? Will it be ready? Nyara nodded. I've been working on it since I made my decision to help you. It's almost complete. But we still need a way to deliver it, Marcus pointed out. We need to get into the command ship. I might be able to help with that, Samantha said. Before I was caught, I saw the princess talking into a device on her wrist. She said emergency override and begin phase 2. What's phase 2? Nyara's scales paled. The second phase of invasion. They'll be bringing down smaller ships to secure key locations before the main fleet arrives. So they'll be coming to Earth's surface, Marcus said, thinking. That's our chance. We could capture one of the small ships, Samantha suggested. Use it to reach the command ship. It wouldn't work, Nyara shook her head. The small ships can't reach orbit once they've landed. They're designed for one-way trips. Then we need another way up, Marcus said firmly. They spent the next day planning. They gathered weapons, supplies, and equipment. Nyara finished her virus and loaded it onto small devices that could be attached to Xylarian systems. They monitored news channels, watching as the world continued to celebrate the aliens, unaware of what was coming. The world didn't know it was being invaded. As Xylarian ships appeared in the skies over major cities, people looked up in wonder, not fear. News channels called it the next step in human-alien friendship. Government leaders welcomed the new arrivals. Children pointed at the beautiful crystal ships and asked for toys that looked like them. Only a small group hiding in a mountain bunker knew the truth. They're establishing control points, Marcus said, looking at a map where they had marked reported ship landings. Major cities first, then military bases. Classic conquest pattern, Samantha added. Take control of communication centers, government buildings, and military installations. Once those are secure, the rest falls easily. Nyara nodded grimly. The command ship will arrive last once the ground forces confirm that all resistance has been neutralized. But there is no resistance, Lisa Chen pointed out. No one's fighting back because no one knows they should be fighting. Which gives us an advantage, Marcus said. They won't be expecting an attack. Their plan was desperate but simple. They would infiltrate one of the Xylarian ground ships that had landed near their location. Nyara would use her command codes to access the ship's systems. From there, they would send a false all-clear signal to the fleet, while also transmitting evidence of the invasion plans to military leaders around the world. If we can make enough people doubt, Marcus explained, it might create confusion in their ranks. Buy us time to get to the command ship when it arrives. And how exactly do we get to the command ship? Asked John Tanner, one of Marcus's team members. These ground ships can't reach orbit, remember? We use their own transportation technology, Nyara said. Each ship has emergency transport pods. They're designed to evacuate high-ranking officers back to the command ship if a ground invasion fails. Will they work for humans? Samantha asked. They should, Nyara said. They're designed for biological material, but they only hold 2 people each, and there are never more than 3 pods on any ship. So only 6 of us can go, Marcus calculated. The rest will have to stay behind and coordinate the ground resistance if we can get one started. They spent the day gathering equipment and preparing. Nyara showed them how to use the virus devices she had created. Each one was small enough to hide in a palm, with a simple attachment mechanism. Place them on any crystal surface, she explained. The virus will spread through the living network that connects all Xylarian technology. By nightfall, they were ready. They packed into 2 vehicles and drove toward the nearest Xylarian landing site, a small city about 30 miles from their bunker. As they approached, they could see the alien ship glowing in the darkness. It had landed in the city park and a perimeter had been established around it. Security looks light, Samantha observed through binoculars, mostly human police keeping people back. Curious onlookers, not protesters. The Xylurians are inside the ship, Nyara said. They'll be setting up command systems, preparing for the main invasion. How do we get past the police? Lisa asked. Marcus smiled grimly. We don't, we go under them. The city had an old sewer system that ran right under the park. They found an access point 3 blocks away and climbed down into the darkness. The smell was terrible, but they had all endured worse conditions in combat. They moved through the tunnels by the light of small flashlights, following a map Marcus had downloaded to his phone. Nyara struggled the most. Her people weren't used to dark, enclosed spaces, but she never complained. Finally, they reached the access point beneath the park. Marcus climbed the ladder and carefully pushed open the cover. The alien ship loomed above them, its crystal surface reflecting the moonlight. Clear, he whispered, and the others climbed up after him. They moved quietly across the grass toward the ship. There was a strange humming in the air and the smell of ozone. The ship had no visible doors or windows, just smooth crystal surfaces that curved elegantly. How do we get in? Samantha asked Nyara. There's an entry point on the underside, Nyara said. It responds to Xylurian body signatures. Will it recognize you? It should. I'm still Xylurian, even if I am a traitor. They crawled beneath the ship, staying in the shadows. The bottom of the ship wasn't flat but concave, with strange patterns etched into the crystal. Nyara placed her hand on one section, and it glowed briefly. A seam appeared in the crystal, widening into an opening. Quickly, she urged, and they climbed inside. The interior of the ship was nothing like the beautiful, comfortable spaces the Xylurians had shown to humans. It was functional and sparse, with crystalline control panels and strange angular furniture. The walls pulsed with a faint blue light. This way, Nyara said, leading them through narrow corridors. The command center will be in the middle of the ship. They encountered 2 Xylurian soldiers. Before the aliens could raise an alarm, Marcus and his team took them down with stun weapons Nyara had helped them modify. They wouldn't kill, but they disrupted the Xylurians' nervous systems temporarily. We should hurry, Nyara said, looking at the unconscious aliens. They'll be missed soon. The command center was a circular room with a floating crystal sphere in the center, similar to what Samantha had seen in the compound. 6 Xylurians worked at control panels around it. They looked up in shock as the humans burst in. What is the meaning of this? Demanded one, a tall male with silver scales. Then he saw Nyara. Commander, what are you doing with these humans? The right thing, Captain Vox, Nyara replied. Something our people have forgotten how to do. Before the Xylurians could react, Marcus and his team fired their stun weapons. 5 of the aliens dropped immediately, but Captain Vox dodged the blast and slammed his hand on a panel. Alarms blared throughout the ship. Traitor! He snarled at Nyara as Marcus tackled him to the ground. Hurry! Marcus shouted as he struggled with the stronger alien. Get to the controls. Nyara ran to the main panel and placed her hand on it. The crystal recognized her, glowing beneath her touch. She began entering commands, her fingers moving rapidly. I'm in, she said, sending the false all clear now. Samantha joined her, connecting a small device to the panel. Downloading their invasion plans. Everything is here. Fleet positions, target locations, weapons capabilities. How long until we can transmit? Marcus asked, finally subduing Captain Vox with help from John. 2 minutes, Samantha said. The encryption is complex. We don't have 2 minutes, Lisa warned, looking at a display that showed Xylurian soldiers moving through the ship. We've got company coming. Barricade the doors, Marcus ordered. Buy us time. His team moved quickly, pushing crystalline furniture against the entrances. Nyara continued working at the control panel, her scales pale with concentration. The transport pods, she said suddenly. We need to activate them now before they lock down the systems. But the transmission, Samantha protested. We can complete it from the command ship, Nyara insisted. If we wait, we'll lose our chance to get there at all. Marcus made the hard decision. Do it, activate the pods. Nyara entered more commands. A section of the wall slid open, revealing 3 small crystal capsules. These will take us to the command ship, she explained. But only 6 of us can go. The rest of us will stay and defend this position, Lisa said firmly. We'll make sure the invasion plans get transmitted to Earth's military. Marcus looked at his loyal team. Are you sure? John nodded. Someone has to stay behind to start the resistance. Might as well be us. Marcus, Nyara, and I should go to the command ship, Samantha said. We know the plan best. I'll go too, volunteered Alex Rivera, their communications expert. You'll need me to set up transmissions from the command ship. And me, said Ben Wilson, their best combat specialist. You'll need firepower up there, that left one spot. They all looked at Mia Foster, their medical officer. Looks like I'm coming too, she said with a tight smile. Someone needs to patch you up when this goes sideways. There was no time for long goodbyes. The Xylarian soldiers were nearly at the doors, the barricades beginning to shake. Good luck, Lisa said, embracing Marcus quickly. Make it count. The 6 of them climbed into the transport pods, 2 to each one. Marcus and Nyara in the first, Samantha and Alex in the second, Ben and Mia in the third. The crystal capsules sealed around them. What now? Marcus asked Nyara, their bodies pressed close in the small space. Now we wait, she said. The pods will activate when... She was cut off as the pod suddenly filled with a blinding light. Marcus felt a sensation like being pulled in every direction at once. There was a roaring in his ears and he couldn't breathe. He reached for Nyara's hand and held it tightly. Then as suddenly as it had begun, it stopped. The crystal capsule opened and they tumbled out onto a smooth floor. They were in a large chamber with high ceilings and walls that seemed to be made of living light. Through a massive window they could see Earth below them, beautiful and blue. We made it, Nyara said, her voice filled with wonder. We're on the command ship. The other pods opened, and their friends emerged, looking disoriented but alive. Is this what space sickness feels like? Alex groaned, holding his stomach. Focus, Samantha said, though she too looked pale. We need to find the main control room. This way, Nyara said, getting her bearings. But we need to be careful. This ship will be full of high-ranking officers and... The control room of the Xylarian command ship was enormous. Crystal pillars stretched up to a ceiling that seemed to show the actual stars outside, as if the roof wasn't there at all. In the center of the room, a massive floating model of Earth rotated slowly, surrounded by smaller images of Xylarian ships. Dozens of aliens worked at control stations around the room. They all looked up in shock when Marcus, Ben, and Mia burst through the door. Now, Marcus shouted, and they fired their stun weapons at the nearest officers. Chaos erupted. Alarms blared. Guards rushed toward them, wielding crystal weapons that glowed with energy. Ben fired continuously, dropping alien after alien. Mia ducked behind a control panel and planted a virus device on its surface. Cover me, Marcus called as he ran toward the center of the room, dodging energy blasts that sizzled past his head. He reached the main control station beneath the floating Earth model. A high-ranking Xylarian officer tried to stop him, but Marcus knocked him aside and slammed a virus device onto the crystal panel. The effect was immediate. The crystal darkened where the device touched it, black lines spreading outward like cracks in ice. The floating Earth model flickered, then stabilized again. More, Marcus shouted to his companions. We need to plant more. Ben tossed him another device while continuing to hold off the guards. Mia worked her way around the room's perimeter, placing devices on every crystal surface she could reach. The black lines spread faster now, connecting with each other, creating a web of darkness throughout the control systems. The lights in the room flickered. Some of the control panels went dark. It's working, Mia called out. A new alarm sounded, different from the others. The remaining Xylarian officers looked at each other in panic. Some abandoned their posts and ran from the room. What's happening? Ben asked, pausing his barrage. I think the virus is spreading to other systems, Marcus said, faster than Nyara predicted. A voice came over the ship's communication system, speaking in the Xylarian language. Even though Marcus couldn't understand the words, the tone was clear. Fear. We need to find Nyara and Samantha, he said. Our 30 minutes isn't up, but I think we've done enough damage here. They fought their way back to the corridor, stunning the few guards who still tried to stop them. The ship seemed to be in disarray, with alarms sounding everywhere and Xylarians running in all directions. Look at the walls, Mia pointed out as they ran. The crystal walls of the ship were changing. Dark patches appeared and spread like bruises on skin. In some places, the walls pulsed with an irregular rhythm as if the living crystal was sick. The virus is affecting the whole ship, Marcus realized, not just the computer systems. They reached the junction where they had separated from Nyara and Samantha. No one was there. Should we wait? Ben asked. A violent shudder ran through the ship, throwing them against the walls. No time, Marcus decided. We need to find them and get to the escape pods. They ran down the corridor toward the communications center. The ship shuddered again, more violently this time. Lights flickered and went out, then emergency lighting came on, bathing everything in a red glow. "Marcus," a voice called from ahead. Samantha appeared around a corner supporting a limping Niara. The alien's scales were pale, almost white, and there was a dark wound on her leg. "What happened?" Marcus rushed to help support Niara. "We ran into Princess Alara," Samantha explained grimly. She wasn't happy to see us. "Did you transmit the invasion plans?" Ben asked. "Yes," Niara said weakly. "Earth's military leaders have the evidence now, and we planted more virus devices in the communications center. Where's the princess now?" Marcus asked, looking over their shoulders. "We managed to lock her in a storage room," Samantha said. "But it won't hold her for long." Another violent shudder ran through the ship. This one was followed by a deep groaning sound as if the vessel itself was in pain. "The virus is affecting the ship's structural integrity," Niara said, alarmed. "It's spreading too fast. We need to get to the escape pods now." "Lead the way," Marcus told her, still helping her walk. They moved as quickly as they could through the increasingly unstable ship. Twice they had to find alternate routes when corridors collapsed ahead of them. The groaning of the ship grew louder, punctuated by sharp cracking sounds. "There," Niara pointed to a doorway ahead. "The escape pod bay." They rushed forward, hope rising. Then a figure stepped out from a side corridor, blocking their path. Princess Alara stood before them, her perfect beauty marred by fury. Her skin no longer shimmered with radiant light but glowed with an angry red. In her hand she held the weapon Samantha had seen in the compound. "Traitor," she hissed at Niara. "You've doomed us all." "No, Alara," Niara replied steadily. "I've saved 2 worlds. Ours was losing its soul in these conquests. Our empire brought order to chaos," the princess snarled. "We gave purpose to primitive species. You enslaved them," Niara countered. "That's not order. It's tyranny." The princess raised her weapon. "You won't leave this ship alive." "None of you will," she fired. Marcus pushed Niara aside and the energy blast hit the wall behind them, melting the crystal instantly. Ben and Samantha fired their stun weapons, but the princess seemed immune. She laughed coldly. "Your primitive weapons can't harm me," she said. "I am the perfect creation of Xylarian science." The ship lurched again, more violently than before. Everyone stumbled. A crack appeared in the floor between them and the princess, widening rapidly. "The ship is breaking apart," Mia shouted. "Get to the escape pods," Marcus ordered. "Now!" They ran for the doorway, even as the crack in the floor became a chasm. The princess fired again, the blast just missing Samantha's head. They reached the escape pod bay. Several small crystal vessels, similar to the transport pods but larger, were attached to the wall. Niara moved to a control panel and began activating one. "Hurry," Ben urged, watching as the princess leaped over the chasm and came toward them. "Almost ready," Niara said, her fingers dancing over the controls. The first escape pod detached from the wall and floated free. Its door opened, revealing space for 6 people inside. "Get in," Niara ordered. Mia and Ben climbed in first, followed by Samantha. Marcus helped Niara toward the pod, but she stumbled, her injured leg giving out. "Go," she told him. "I'll activate the launch sequence." "Not without you," Marcus insisted, lifting her. A blast of energy hit the wall beside them. The princess was at the doorway, her weapon aimed directly at them. "You won't escape me, Niara," she called. "We die together." "No one else dies today," Marcus said. He gently pushed Niara into the escape pod, then turned to face the princess. "Marcus, no," Niara cried. Marcus raised his stun weapon, knowing it wouldn't work but determined to buy time. "Go, Niara, launch the pod." The princess laughed and fired. Marcus dived to the side, the blast missing him by inches. He fired back, the stun beam hitting the princess directly. It had no effect, just as before. But then something unexpected happened. The princess's perfect skin began to change where the beam had hit her. Dark lines appeared, spreading rapidly, the same black lines they had seen throughout the ship. "What's happening to me?" the princess screamed, looking at her arm in horror. Niara gasped. "The virus!" "It's in the ship's air now. Your stun weapon must have activated it in her systems." The princess fired wildly, no longer aiming. Her body was being consumed by the same infection destroying the ship. She was, after all, a product of the same living crystal technology. The ship gave a final, massive shudder. The ceiling began to collapse. "Marcus," Niara called desperately. "Now!" He turned and leaped for the escape pod, diving through the door just as a section of ceiling crashed down where he had been standing. The door sealed behind him. "Launch!" he shouted. Nyara pressed a crystal control and the pod detached from the dying ship. They shot away just as a massive explosion tore through the command vessel. Through the pod's crystal walls, they watched the Xylurian flagship break apart, pieces scattering across space. "Is it over?" Samantha asked quietly. Nyara checked the pod's systems. "The virus has spread to all Xylurian ships in Earth's orbit. They're all failing, and the transmission we sent has reached Earth's military leaders. They're already moving to secure the landed ships." "So we did it," Ben said, a note of wonder in his voice. "We saved Earth. At what cost?" Mia asked, looking back at the destruction behind them. Nyara's scales darkened with sadness. "Many of my people died today. Even Alara. She was what they made her to be. She never had a choice." Marcus took her hand. "But you did have a choice, and you chose to save both our worlds." The escape pod descended toward Earth, entering the atmosphere in a blaze of light. Below them, they could see the first signs of resistance. Human military forces were surrounding the landed Xylurian ships, which now sat dark and powerless, the virus having spread to them as well. "What happens now?" Samantha asked. "To the Xylurians who survive?" "That will be for your leaders to decide," Nyara said. "But I hope there can be peace. Real peace this time, not deception." "And you?" Marcus asked her softly. "What happens to you now?" Nyara looked at him, her scales shifting to that soft blue color he had come to recognize as affection. "I can never return to my homeworld. I am a traitor to the Empire. Stay on Earth," Marcus said. "Help us understand your technology, your culture. Be a bridge between our worlds.